nine, eight, seven, six, five, four, three, two, one.
Thanks everyone for joining us today. Welcome to the panel, The Future of Augmented Reality and Virtual Reality. I am Fernando Moreno, a Venture Fellow here at Newchip, and I will be leading this panel to get an insight to the earliest stages of AR and the VR industry, as well as our guest vision for the industry's future. Without further ado, it is a great pleasure for me to introduce our special guests. Our first guest is James Jensen. He is the creator and co-founder of The Void, the critically acclaimed immersive entertainment company. For more than 2 decades, James has worked in illustration, design, and interactive media for companies and clients including Sony Entertainment, DreamWorks, SKG, Noble, Microsoft, 3Com, E-Omega, HP, Sun, Symantec, Hitachi Data Systems, MTV, and his own creative CG animation company, Sandman Studios, that he started in 1998. In 2002, he became an entrepreneur and started to partner with other companies and individuals to place new products into the digital world. The design and web application of napkinjournal.com was completed in 2008 with its easy-to-use journal tools. This new site gave users the ability to record their most precious thoughts in an easy-to-use, timeless format. Shortly after, he designed and built one of the first social web-based multi-streaming HD video platforms called Band Crashers in 2010, in an attempt to bring the live concert experience to millions of fans. The platform hosted hundreds of thousands viewing live events from Neon Trees, Alicia Keys, Snoop Dogg, R. Kelly, and others. In 2014, James founded The Void, a destination which allows you to explore your physical surroundings while interacting with dynamic virtual world. Launching the Ghostbusters Dimension in 2016 with Sony Entertainment in New York City, and in 2017 partnering with Disney and Lucasfilms on their newest hyper-reality dimension, the Star Wars Secrets of the Empire, with over 25 locations worldwide and a company valuation over 400 million within 4 years. Our second guest is Rene Rodriguez. Rene is the founder and CEO of VidIt, the leading platform for creating and sharing augmented reality experiences. Born in Chile, Rene discovered passion for entrepreneurship at a very early stage. He started by refurbishing tires, turning his father's garbage into treasure. Then he started his own advertising agency in Santiago, where one project changed his life forever. JCPenney asked, why don't we print our logo on live roses? And so a new multi-million industry with multiple patents started. Speaking Roses now owns the ability to print on all organic products and licenses worldwide. With Speaking Roses success and a beautiful wife from Idaho, Rene moved to the United States. Rene and his team have worked in the augmented reality space in 2007, overcoming all the obstacles from low processing power to the lack of public understanding of what augmented reality is. James, Rene, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah.
To kick off this panel, I would like to start by drawing on your knowledge and understanding of the industry, and please letting us know exactly and explain to our viewers what is exactly virtual reality and what is augmented reality.
Want me to give a shot at that first there, Rene?
Sure, please go ahead.
For me, I mean, it's really simple, breaking those two pieces apart. Virtual reality is a completely immersive reality where nothing inside of your typical reality is actually integrated into the experience. According to The Void, that's a little bit different, but because we use actual physical objects to augment it. But in augmented reality, you're putting CG elements into the world that you already understand, already know. So inside of your home, inside of your office. So that's the two biggest differences to me. One's completely immersive, and the other one is immersive, but adding CG elements into your computer-generated elements into your world.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty simple. The way that I usually describe it, it's extremely simple in the way that I say, listen, when you go watch a movie, you submerge yourself into the movie, and now you are part of the movie somehow, playing in being part of the movie, playing the video game, or whatever you feel that you are completely submerged. You leave this world to enter a virtual world. The augmented reality is you do not leave the world, you are present. You are here, you're seeing around, you capture what the real world is about, but through your wearable device or your phone, you can see, interact with these virtual elements that you can only see through the phone. So it's like a layer of magic in the world that we live in. So that's how we're completely different things, and both are completely united for the future that we're going to be living in.
Rene, another term that we usually hear when talking about VR and AR is also mixed reality. Is there any difference between mixed reality and augmented reality, or is it the same?
It is, in simple words, is the same thing, but what the difference is in the technicality. So, for example, the augmented reality, the mixed augmented reality is seeing a layer of virtual elements on the world that you are in it. The mixed reality is where you can start interacting with some of those things, like clicking a button or anchor that content to a geographical location or moving a few things here and there. So it's a little more interaction, but in the same, not to complicate the people that listen to this, in a sense, they're just virtual reality, augmented reality, and the mixed reality, it's just a little more features on the augmented reality side.
Sounds good. It's just basically like a subset with interactions, and that's
yes,
it.
Absolutely.
Sounds good. And James, going back into your previous definition of what virtual reality is, I wanted to ask you, where do you draw the line on what is just a regular animation? So, for example, a movie or a video game, and the virtual reality when we usually use like Oculus or another device to immerse ourselves into another world. Where do you draw that specific line, or it's still blurry?
As far as like virtual reality versus a movie theater, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, exactly. A regular 3D animation or playing a video game in your Nintendo, for example.
Yeah. So I actually I have a game room in my house, and I play games with my kids, and we play all the cool games right now. But there's a very different experience you have when you're separated by a screen. Your experience, even though you're controlling a character in a video game, you're still separated by the experience. The world exists inside of the screen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you put on virtual reality glasses, now the world exists where you are, and you are now part of the story. So that's where the line separates, is when the main character becomes you, like physically you, then that's really where you're kind of crossing the line.
Okay.
I mean, there are virtual reality experiences where you can come into the virtual world and control, like be a third party controlling a character, but you're still in the world, and the world is happening to you and the other characters. So virtual reality is being completely immersed into that world and no longer having that screen, which is an interesting challenge when it comes to what people typically call storytelling or storyline development through, the typical film or video games. When it's virtual reality, it's completely different because it's you. In a way, you almost have to give people suggestions on how to build their own story inside of the virtual environment.
Is there any specific, let's say, peripherals you need to use for it to be considered virtual reality? So, for example, instead of using regular keyboard and a mouse, you need to use like a headset to isolate yourself from your surroundings, and maybe gloves, or what? Is there any specific you need to use to be considered virtual reality?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely have to use something different than a keyboard and mouse. That's for sure. I mean, you can do that, but what happens once you are completely immersed in the experience and you're the one that's there, all of a sudden you want everything that you had in reality. You want hands, you want legs, you want arms, you want to have everything that you had in reality. And we're making steps to get there. They have controllers that do pretty good of representing hands in the experience. There's other technologies that allow you to have hand representation in the experience, and there's a lot of companies trying to solve this, but I feel like that's one of the biggest gaps inside of virtual reality existence, is being able to have everything you have in normal reality. And so there's this desire for everyone that goes into virtual reality to have this type of control. So I think we're going to see over the next few years different applications of technology in order to get full presence of the body inside of virtual reality and the same kind of interaction that you can expect in the real world.
Awesome. Thank you so much for providing this specific introductory level to understand what virtual reality and augmented reality is. And before we jump into the details of where do you think the industry is going, I want to hear a little bit more about your journey as an entrepreneur. I understand, James, you started also your entrepreneurial experience, then you moved into the creation of the VidIt, and now you're moving into a new company called SenSync. Also about a virtual reality experience in terms of a complete different, instead of focusing on entertaining, you're focusing now on the well-being of a person. Could you tell us a little bit more about how you started your journey into the virtual reality industry and how you have been moving for the past, I think, almost 10 years, right?
Yeah, it's been even longer. I started exploring virtual worlds inside of the movie set, just like a lot of people, where they were seeing tracking data and blue screens with real-time animations and actors composited on a screen with directors, right? That was a long time ago, and that's kind of where things started. When I saw that, I was like, I want to be inside of the screen because anything could happen inside of there. It was pretty cool. We're creating these magical worlds on set, and once I kind of got that in my head that was going to be a possibility, I started looking into virtual reality and started creating ideas and concepts around that. The VidIt was it was and is for entertainment. It was an entertainment company. That's what I understood at the time. And what I wanted to do is actually bring some of the stuff that I'd seen on set, because we were creating a virtual world for the actor, but they needed physical objects to interact with. So they needed stuff to put their hands on or to climb up on in order to make the CG world make sense in the film. And I saw that, and so I was like, wow, that's what virtual reality needs to be. It needs to be a physical environment that has a virtual existence wrapped over it, because then you can change the existence to whatever you want, but it's still physical. I can still walk around, I can still sit, I can still have different types of things in there. And so we successfully opened lots of locations with some amazing IP on creating that kind of mapped virtual world over physical. But we crossed over into a different realm through that process. At least I did, by having all of the other physical effects in the environment that isn't typical for normal VR. VR typically is defined as just visuals and audio. Like any headset you buy is visuals and audio. In the VidIt, we had all the other physical effects. So you could walk through the space and triangulate naturally with the neurons that were firing in your head. We had scent, we had wind and heat effects and vibration effects, all the other evidences your body needs to interpret the reality and feel like it's actually there. So we did some really cool stuff there. And long story short, I ended up seeing that there was a change in people when they went in one side of the experience and came out the other side. We had a saying that adults went in one side and kids came out the other side.
Yep.
It was really cool to see. Every single person that came out was just like, wow, like everything is possible again, and everything was cool and neat. And so I really tried to discover what was going on inside of that environment. And when you have all the other physical effects happening at the same time, it almost puts people in a sense of presence or a state of awareness where they're completely and 100% there. They're not thinking about the past or the future. So it was a huge opportunity for me to see, for the first time on the planet, we really have a place where you have a person's 100% attention with no other noise around you. You completely have their attention. So I got fascinated with that. And so my new experiences are taking advantage of that moment of having somebody's 100% attention, almost in a flow state existence, and then be able to teach them all kinds of things, experience all kinds of things. I think there's a lot more to be had here than just entertainment. having experiences that we can learn from and, kind of change our life when we come out of them, I think is really where the true opportunity is for virtual existence.
Let me
Awesome.
add to that. Let me add a little bit of what he was saying. I mean, James is a very humble man, and he doesn't really brag about exactly what he created, dude. I went through that experience with my kids, and it was so incredibly amazing. I mean, you walk into that thing, to that place, you gear up, they tell you, they put, what the heck, they're putting something in your backpack, in your head, and then you say like, okay, what do we should expect over here? So I send my kids first so they can walk into 4 people at a time. So as soon as they go into the room where all the instructions goes, suddenly they turn on the switch, okay? They turn on the switch, and my kids, I record this experience. My kids start looking at each other, and they were going crazy because now they don't look at each other like wearing a backpack with computers or something in their head. They literally look like superheroes to each other. They literally have superpowers in their hands. They literally have invisible shields that they can play with it. And day after that, they go inside the experience, and now they're interacting with Spider-Man. They're walking into a path, because I did that as well. So I walk into the path, and then as soon as I'm walking on it, you see a window, and then you look at the window, and there's the most coldest winter mountain that you can ever imagine, and the windows open, and you get the cold air coming to you, and you get this so scared because they're like, holy crap, when am I getting into it? My little kids, they would just start walking around. I was so concerned that they're gonna fall off the cliff because they were just right in the cliff. But then Spider-Man came over and started helping us and gave a 5. And I'm just telling you, you cannot explain that experience. So, and that's what the world that we're gonna be moving into it, and a world that is so clever. So that's why Jim and I become friends, because whatever that cannot happen into that virtual world, it will happen in the augmented reality world. So we are the little sister or brother of the virtual world, because they're needed. In order for them to combine and to work together, we need the pedestrian experiences where kids can have those experiences about those guns and those gears and those things that you can live through your phone or a wearable device. That there are small experiences, kind of like a small glimpse of what happened with Pokemon Go, that everybody went crazy, but now seeing those virtual experiences. So we are hand by hand combined with gamings and all the other stuff.
Let me give an example for that, Rene. In the augmented reality world, what if I had my cell phone and I had found a cool character in augmented reality, and I had taken care of that character for several weeks, and it's grown up to this big size, cool looking character that I could potentially, go see. And then I would go to a location where there's virtual reality, and I would be able to go on a complete adventure with that character now and go find all kinds of things, and then come back. And now I still have that character with me in reality. And that's kind of the combination of virtual and augmented reality that's going to happen over the next few years. Is we need that connective digital tissue, if you will, in between your reality and virtual reality existence, and it's going to be really fun to see that kind of come to fruition. So,
absolutely, sorry, Rene, I was looking at The Void. To be honest, it was the first time I was reading about it, and I couldn't stop. I was like thinking like it's getting into a real video game. You become Marcus Phoenix from Gears of War, basically. And it's you now.
I mean, it's undescribable. I mean, you cannot, you can see it, but it's undescribable. The videos don't even make justice of what the experience really is. It's incredible. And then for example, we're talking to a few companies right now. They're in the gaming industry as well. And they were just so excited to work with the augmented reality portion, because now kids will be able to, the gun that you're going to be playing on the video game, you can literally have it with you and take videos and pictures and do whatever you want with it. The shield, the boot, the clothing, you can be interacting with that, and they go play in those video games. So we're entering a world, my friend. This is the new .com era, okay? Everything is reset. In the next 10 years, you will see things that you'll never see in the last 2,000 years because 5G is coming, processor on the phones is coming, software is coming. Everything is going to be like that. We're going to literally live into a Ready Player One environment of the movie. You know, that crazy is going to happen.
Yep, definitely. Thank you so much for going into how deep the current virtual environment is. But I also want to hear about your story, Rene. I understand you created this way of printing directly into organic matter. You started with the roses and then you move into other things. And then please explain to me, how did you move from going into the printing business to the augmented reality business in the US? I know you started in this business in 2007. That was the year that the first iPhone was launched. So I guess you have lived the entire cycle, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, as an entrepreneur, you know, I always been an entrepreneur since I was a kid. I grew up in an entrepreneur family. They have multiple businesses. My mind was always working and creating things. I was the first to bring several things when I was a teenager to local areas, local businesses. I always was looking for what's the next thing, right? So I remember JCPenney came to us and they want to greet all the VIP, the media, and all the important people in Chile for doing the grand opening. So we have an agency and we also have a promotional company that we thought, okay, well, you know, with our brains and our team, we put together, and a summary is we print on a flower. We have no idea about flower. We have no idea how to take care of them. We have no idea about, you know, anything about it. So we kind of says like, what do you think about this? So we show on the flower with that today is speakingroses.com, of course. And we show that flower, people absolutely, they love it. They bought us close to 700 to 800 roses for $4 a piece. And I thought, wow, that is like a promotional product. So I'm going to go to Nestle, and then I go to here, and they went to, so I started selling a lot of flowers just as a promotional product. So then I knew I have to patent this. So I came to the United States, do all the process, do all the patenting, and then I move into this, and now we license this all over the world. But how do I get into the augmented reality? Well, my favorite movie, actually, I was given a seminar a few days ago. I have right next to my my computer here. But my favorite movie is called Back to the Future. So my buddy Rod, he gave me a piece of the film of Back to the Future. When I saw this movie a long time ago, my mind went crazy because one is extreme fiction, but the other one is things that they could be real. And I'm staying with the things that it could be real. And when I saw the shark coming out of the plaza and eating Michael J. Fox in the corner, I thought, holy crap, that's going to happen. I go to a park. There was nothing at the park. I thought, how cool it would be to have like a dinosaur park right here with kids come over and see dinosaurs walking around everywhere, you know? And then I saw how cool it would be if I'm gonna go shopping and then I can see that virtual thing right outside my house. If I want to buy a house, why do I have to go to the dealer? I want to see the house outside my house, parking outside my house, take a picture and see how it looks like. So I started seeing all these things, and I told Rod, is there any technology like that? He said, well, there's something that's just very inventive from the Japanese guys that they've been using for a long time with the firefighters on the jets. Let us call it augmented reality. So that's when we started. And then I thought, oh my goodness, this is going to happen. No matter what, it's going to happen. With us or without us, it's going to happen. So I said, guys, let's jump into this boat. Let's see how far we can go with it because it's going to happen. But so Rod, that is like the Wozniak, basically, he's so smart. He was telling me, well, we can do a little bit of this, we can do a little bit of that. And then he said, but in reality is we need software, hardware on the phones, and we need speed on the internet in order to do that. I said, well, hey, listen, I'm young, I have patience, and it's going to happen. So what about if we start building something up, we learn all the pain point because It's going to be a learning lessons here. And when we get to the point that it's available, we'll be the first to start racing that race. And that's what happened. That's why we put so much time, energy, and effort, and we haven't quit, because we are now the first social platform on the planet that allows people to grab the content, anchor the content to a geographical location, anchor your content to an image like a cereal box so you can share your recipe with your friends, or have a one-on-one experience like you see on VidIt.com. You know, our platform it's getting better every day, and our go-to-market product is going to be done in like 2 weeks. You know, so it's already a beta test that people can download, but the catalog and a few things are going to be done in like 2 weeks around there. So we're dang excited about that.
Terrific. And now that we understand what your business is, how your experience has been in the industry, could you tell us now what's the current state of AR and VR, and specifically what's going to be the future for the startups that are just entering this specific industry?
Well, I will speak of myself then, James. He's the guru. So I will, I'll start with saying that think about the .com era. You know, think about the internet era. We are in the beginning of something that is going to revolutionize the world. I mean, people cannot even comprehend the fun world that we're going to be living in the next 10 years. They cannot even comprehend or see or even imagine. It is so fun because literally you're going to be able to do things that you have never imagined that it can be done. Hey, I want to go to Rome. Well, I want to go to Italy, or I want to go to Egypt. Well, guess what? You can bring Egypt right next to your place and go visit literally visit them. And you're not going to be walking present, but emotionally, visually, mentally, you'll be seeing those things. You know, this is what augmented reality will do at the first level, and virtual reality gonna submerge to the next level. So tourism, purchasing, experiencing, museums, gaming, buying, interaction, social interaction. Everybody's gonna have their own avatar. You know, you cannot be present. Yeah, you put your avatar right there, and exactly the way you want it to be dressed. You want it to be dressed with a tie, with whatever. It will be there. You know, people today want to go see these museums, you know, to see their biggest fans. Well, you can bring your fan to you and have it right next to your room and just take pictures with them. It's going to be so much fun. And but we are in the beginning of something that is going to be revolutionary. And I mean, James already have done something that is incredible, remarkable, that if people have never seen The Void, you know, it's just amazing.
Yeah, I'd like to add to some of the stuff that Rene was talking about too, just with the augmented reality side of things. I ended up hanging out with these guys because I saw that there needed to be that unification of reality and digital worlds interacting with each other. It wasn't enough to just, I guess it's powerful to have a place like The Void where you can kind of, if you want, quote unquote, escape reality and go do something really cool and then come back from it. But it didn't feel right to have that experience just end. It didn't feel like it was good enough in virtual reality to go in, like you go to a movie and see a movie and then just have it end. You wanted to bring some of those pieces home with you. You wanted to, it's like when you go into a virtual reality existence, it's like going to Hawaii. It'd be like going to Hawaii and be like, well, you can't take any pictures and you can't buy anything. You can't take anything home with you. It's like, well, that's not very fun. That's what it feels like when you go into a virtual world and you can't take something with you. And so I identified these guys because they were, I mean, the leading edge of where they're going with AR. These guys put in the foundation, the hard work before it was a thing. Just like The Void, you know, The Void, there was no backpacks or walking systems that were mixed with virtual reality. That didn't happen. We had to forge all of that. And so there was a lot of synergy between me and Rene on kind of both of our discoveries of the technology. And I saw how much they had created a foundation there. As far as the future, I guess my perspective has evolved past kind of the entertainment side of this thing. And I think one of the biggest disconnects in virtual reality right now for home systems is people don't understand at home yet why it's important to them. Most people are like, well, I don't play video games, so I don't need a virtual reality headset because it's not important to me, right? I think what you're going to see, what hopefully you see in the future, and that I can help, and the guys I'm working with can help people understand, is these virtual reality worlds, these existences that we can come into can actually impact everything that you do in your life. I mean, there's stuff that I'm seeing where people are playing with biometric reads and things like that, and virtual experiences, allowing people to have experiences that overcome some of the psychological problems they have in their lives. And so that's extremely difficult to do in reality, you know, with some kind of counselor that helps you through meditation techniques, and you know, all the counseling stuff they have to do inside of a system where you basically have a clean slate. Nobody's, you know, there's no barrier to entry, there's no confusion or noise of the outside world, and you have their 100% attention. You can actually amplify the healing process really quickly through this digital means that we have now. And so I think you're going to see, I mean, we need to make a big push to explain or show people how it's important to them. Once people understand how important virtual reality is to them, they're going to buy whatever it costs to have it in their home. We kind of miss that part. It's like, here's this cool headset and here's some content, but people just don't, I don't know why that's important to me.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's like a lot of people, when they think in virtual reality, they automatically associate that with video games. And it's not the case. Like, as you were mentioning before, there's a lot of applications in different industries, and maybe it's a training process to make people understand that it's not necessarily just like the headset, just playing video games, but there are other applications as well. And in terms of, so because of what you just told me, my understanding is that we are just starting to see the beginning of the industry boom, right? So there is like a lot of opportunities for startups. I guess the industry is growing super fast. At least my idea is, after Pokemon Go, everyone, at least the cell phone users, or video game players, they started to wonder, like, this is one application, but I want to see this in more other video games or applications I use on my daily life. And I think the more, how you call it, the better the the processing power of the cell phones, and as you mentioned before, Rene, the capacity of the internet to connect these devices is going to improve the quality of the content and the different things we're going to be seeing in the future. But do you think specifically, is there any technology or trend that is either promoting or hindering the adoption of AR and VR specifically?
Okay, so everything is like a seed, you know? Everything is a seed, is planted, have to be grown, have to be nurtured, and need to be education into the process. The way how I see it, first of all, I think James, I mean, this is honestly, with a true honestly from my heart, James is like the Steve Jobs in the virtual reality world. This guy is so incredible involved in VR that once you really understand what he sees, he can literally change not just the gaming, but the way how the people perceive the world. He is an incredible, incredible human being that I feel extremely humbled to be associated with. I'm just more good looking than him, but he's actually very, very smart, you know? So my point, no, but going back to the other part about what you're saying in companies, I see there's a lot of companies that are doing that, but I see that as think about the Swiss knife, you know? The Swiss knife. The Swiss knife is, sometimes they came with one knife, and then, one blade, and then they came with a spoon, they went with a fork, they went with it came these huge amounts of items that who is going to start using it? So what happened is they start declining. And the reason I make that analogy is because today we have Snapchat, we have Instagram, we have Facebook, and they're trying to be everything they can possibly can. Well, between us girls, it's not going to happen, in my opinion. They can't be everything for everything. I mean, why do you go to Snapchat? Why do you go to Facebook? Why do you go to those things? So my point is that we are specifically with augmented reality, all those are great because they're educating the consumer. If you ask, what is the name of this technology? most of kids have no clue what the name is, you know. They don't know that it's augmented reality. But what we are doing, that we believe in this project, and that's what we are, you know, pushing and leading into it, is because we are the company that is 100% augmented reality, that in the next level, we can see connecting to James on the virtual reality format. So it's like the next level of, you can play and have a little fun, little ears and little thing in your face. All that is very, very fascinating. But when I'm talking about living with a virtual reality and augmented reality combined, that's when the game changer is happening. So I don't see any negative right now. I see all positive, because this is just education that is seen in the world and creating the demand, you know?
Exactly.
The demand will never get created if people don't have no idea what it's all about. So I think in a sense, it's all good.
So Instagram is doing a great job educating the potential customers of your company.
Absolutely.
In this case, Rene, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, James, you want
I guess the advantage we have over any other portions of our life so far with movies and with the internet and some of the other things that we have going on is we've made a lot of advances in collecting data and analyzing data so that we can create experiences that are actually curated for the individual. And so I think that's where you're going to see a huge ramp on what the technology is used for, is because we can actually collect data, we can analyze that data, and then we can use that data to actually curate experiences that have a meaningful impact or do whatever we want them to do. You know, going into, you know, redefining what education is for one instance is that it needs to pretty much change, and to be able to have experiences where people are experiencing things, and instead of trying to learn in textbooks, we already know through scientific data that experiential learning is the highest retention rate, and how vivid that experience is how much you retain the information. So moving away from textbooks and even videos into an experiential education system where we're bringing little kids into experiences where they learn at a really deep level, an unconscious level. I mean, I can't even imagine what those kids will turn into, what kind of creators they'll turn into in the future, of having kind of unlimited possibilities of reality for them to understand what their true potential is. It's going to be pretty cool. And I think that's the biggest difference. It's like, if you were to rewind back to when we came up with film in 1902 and open the first location, and you were able to have people go to the film, but you were able to have them create an account, create a profile, you know, put in all the information that they like, and then in the experience, whether watching the film, that you were collecting, you know, any kind of information about how they were interpreting the film. Like Rene said, it's almost like a restart. You know, the internet, when they created the internet, it wasn't what it is today. Like, we're literally doing a video call off of some technology that was created way back then to display text on computers. So I think we're just at the very beginning of what this is actually going to turn into. And, you know, if the very beginning is, well, this is for video games, that's pretty good. I mean, the internet was, well, this is for showing text on the screen. I mean, where if you look at that comparatively to the internet, I mean, the virtual existence and the augmented reality worlds that we're going to see in the next 50 years or 20 years, I mean, I think it's on a really fast pace on where this technology is going and how we interpret it. So it's going to be fun to watch, and I hope you be a part of it.
Yeah, and 5G is going to make all those changes. So one thing I was going to add to that is that today, you know, I've learned that companies start by either solving the problem or changing the human behavior. You know, and usually technology like this, they change the human behavior. So a lot of the people that is using these things, either gaming, specifically gaming, and the other one with augmented reality, they're using as tools. You know, there's a little bit of entertainment that is embedded into some of those apps, but they're usually, the rest is for tools. Well, in reality, in order for this to gain massive adoption, the users need to participate. And if the user don't participate in the creation, this is what I believe, in the creation of the content and in the creation of the sharing, then it's never going to be something that is a change in the human behavior. And that's why we create a platform where the creator is the user, you know. And for example, that's what James is talking about, is the creation. It's not just the game. This is just the testing of the VR. But imagine every single industry created the content specifically merged for whatever they need. So I think that's where the power of this technology is going to go, is a whole immerse into the virtual world in a way that we are going to be having two worlds combined in one world. Yeah.
I can't wait for it. Specifically, the vision you said about the movies, James, looks like very appealing to me.
Yeah, right.
And in terms of the next steps, what's going to be in the industry after the COVID-19 situation, I wanted to ask you if you see any short-term or long-term impact of the COVID situation. Call it that people is not going out of their houses, some companies are not working as they should be. Everything is made through these video conference calls instead of like having a live interaction. Do you think we'll have a positive impact, a negative impact? What's your forecast?
I'll give a quick response to that. I've been watching what's happened and with COVID, and I'm actually pretty excited. I mean, it is a horrible thing that's happening inside the world, but you can either focus on that or you can see what is actually happening with the change, right? Amongst a lot of change in your life, if you think about it, when you look back on it reflectively after it's happened, you know, when you're in the moment, it feels really hard and it feels bad and it feels like, you know, things are tough. But when you reflect back, you're like, wow, well, we wouldn't really be here unless we had that change. And so what I'm seeing right now is an intense focus from, you know, the majority of people in the world to be able to solve problems and create a virtual existence to be able to communicate with each other. And that much intense focus is going to change a lot of things. I mean, you have everybody's imagination, everybody's thought process trying to solve this and to do it quickly so they can change their business models or whatever pieces that they're working on. But that communicative attention or unified consciousness, if you will, of everyone focusing on solving that problem is going to spawn out a new understanding and new technologies around having virtual existence communication, which I think is really exciting. I've already seen some applications of virtual reality with online communication. It's all very rough and pretty bad right now, but the idea is there, right? The idea of being able to try to this and make James appear in another place and actually be a full presence James and not just a virtual presence James is pretty interesting stuff. So I guess my point is, amongst all of the turmoil, you can look at it with a different lens and see the massive change that's going to happen for positive. I think it's almost like we're being infused to think about things differently, to be able to expand our minds to come up with bigger, better solutions for education, for everything. I mean, look at education this is my last comment on this, but look at education. Like my kids right now have to do video conference calls and stuff like that. And the teachers are having to refigure out how to actually teach in this whole different environment. And all of those are applicable to virtual environments. So it's really cool to see, actually.
Absolutely. I will be personally figuring that out the next week. So
Yep.
I'll tell you how that goes. So yeah, and to wrap it up, we know that virtual reality and augmented reality is having a current impact in a lot of industries right now. Let's call it the aviation industry, in the training of their pilots, the gaming industry, the healthcare industry, obviously the film and entertainment industry. Do you see any other industries that are going to be highly impacted by the new developments on VR and AR, Rene and James?
Every facet of human existence will be impacted by this, as far as I'm concerned.
I believe that too. I think everybody has to be reinvent the way how they do business. I mean, it's not a matter of if they want to, it's a matter of when are they going to make the decision, because there's no option. I mean, right now I have so many companies that they have websites and they do not have the ability to show their products. People cannot get out of their houses. There's still countries that you cannot get out of your house. You need to have a permit in order for you even to go to buy to the supermarket, Mm-hmm. And with that said, that's what we developed 3 products that are really, really cool. They call it text AR, the web AR, and then the scan AR. So we have a little plug-in thing that we can put into every people that has a website or retail, and then immediately they can change the experience with their consumer right away. But everybody else have an option. Even the gaming industry, I have another company gaming. It's like, oh crap, we need to have more interaction. the NFL, I have people from, not NFL, but from the sports industries, they're coming to us, the influencers. So like James said, it will touch every industry in one way or another. And it's going to go like this, of course,
Yep. Yeah, specifically, I can say an example. I noticed about a week ago that a lot of retail stores are now using augmented reality to show yourself with specific glasses or specific watches or specific clothing. And I think that's going to be like, it is just the beginning right now.
Exactly.
So, yep.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yep. And that's exactly what we're seeing, and what we are doing is we're building a platform where everything is like a mall with augmented reality content, that it's not just one thing that you find in one app that if you download it that's only for one glasses. Here is a mall. You can create, you can see, you can experience, you can taste and play, and it's a whole different world. And then go to the next level with the VR concept.
Absolutely. So we're reaching the end of this panel. To all the viewers, I highly recommend that you watch the VidIt website and the VidIt website. You will be like amazed about the different products that are out there in terms of VR and AR and how you can interact with them right now. You don't have to wait. So yeah, James and Rene, thank you so much for sharing your points of view with us today regarding entrepreneurship in VR and AR. It was great listening from people that have first-hand experience in the industry. And thanks everyone for tuning in and Newchip for organizing this VR and AR panel. Enjoy the rest of Demo Day.
See you guys.